quick emergency laws have been brought in yesterday. Government met, and from this weekend, there's going to be massive changes with the rental market because the rental market's been going bananas and the government is doing something about it. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about what they're doing. Hey, how are you, Billy Bob?
Good. Yourself?
Old man, the old man, the young man's body.
It's me. I've actually moved locations a little bit this morning, so I can take you around the office later on. Christmas decorations.
You got the reindeers up there, Santa's up there.
Yeah. Thought, why not show it at its best?
I had Steve Kidd in the office yesterday, and they said, "How did you get the decorations up there? Because they're like 6 meters high." Thinking, how did you get up there? And I said, "Scissor lift." And I went, "What's a scissor lift?"
You should have said just Santa. Just drop them off.
Santa just came and put it there.
Yeah.
It's a big job.
It is a big job.
Billy, tell us what we know about the rental market. So it's been going bananas at the moment. They've been surging up with rents. What do you know?
That's right. It's come to the point now where I think the government's recognised that it's unfair for tenants to, move into a property and then have the rents hiked up 50%. So they put a bit of legislation in now where it's actually going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more. What's what I'm looking for? I guess
friendly,
controlled, friendly, and just make sure that people are not getting caught out with massive rent increases.
So I guess it's so for anyone who hasn't seen what's happening within the media and with what government's doing, because the rental market's been going so bananas, it's been so competitive at open houses. Agents have started doing offers over on rentals. And because they did offers over on rentals, they started creating this real auction frenzy for rental properties where people would make an offer and the agent would go, too bad's going for more, make an offer, too bad's gone for more. So there were lots of complaints with Fair Trading about the agents' conduct. And the way they were handling these open houses, so much so that they've brought into place a ruling where agents must have a price on a property, and agents writing something like offers over is not allowed anymore, which is not foreign to us because we've had the same reforms in for sale properties for years now.
I was going to say it's been in with properties for sale for quite some time. At what point did they change that, Mark? Because you would have been around when they introduced that.
About 5 years ago, I'd say 4 to 5 years ago in sales that happened, and buyers just had enough. And I think these laws come in when Fair Trading gets a flurry of issues and complaints. They've got to do something about it. So I think Fair Trade had all these complaints coming in on the rental market. My rent's gone up. I went to an open house, and I think they've got to look at all those issues that people have and say, okay, what's the most common problem that we've got? That people are not genuinely, fairly not happy with, and what can we do about it with legislation? So it's pretty incredible that they're that whippy to get something done so fast. And I've been a lot of complaints.
I think there would have been. I know, talking to our property management team, landlords are looking at reviewing rents. They've gone through a pretty crappy period, haven't they, over the last 2-3 years, where they were actually not only putting rents, not only were moving up, but they were effectively going down as they were cutting some help out, some slack for people that are out of work and things like that. So you can expect people now want to try and make up that lost ground. but there's a way to go about it. I think, you know, hiking the rents is obviously probably where these complaints have come in.
Yep.
So there's been existing legislation that's been in for a little while, but is now being built on. Things like you can only put in one rent increase every 12 months. I know was an existing one.
Yep.
So that's something to be conscious of. You know, you can't be sending out 90-day notices every other week, just pushing the rents up, even if it's little $10 increments. Still no good. I heard you having an interesting chat with someone the other day on a commercial property. You might actually be able to put the rents up a little bit more now than where they were, you know, previously, because that's the way the market's actually going. So you're catching up a little bit. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah,
Like,
look, I think it's. I think everyone knows that the rents are you don't have to explain yourself to your tenants as a landlord anymore. I think it's an environment where just everything's gone up, you know. So I think tenants.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh my god, I can't believe you're putting the rent up, but it's that environment where people are going, well, you know, okay, sure. But where today, I think with that rental gouging, there's an opportunistic thing there that sometimes people are being a bit overzealous on. So, and I think that's where agents would say something and mean another. So it sort of it got. I think it was different with what happened with sales. With sales, agents were using it as a fueling technique to actually go low and then to slingshot the property 10, 20, 30% more.
Yeah.
Whereas I think here it was just genuinely let's just rather than go low, it was like let's just do offers over on everything and then see where it goes. I think it was a little bit different this time with sales with rentals this time compared to sales previously.
Overall, do you think positive impact all round, or did it hurt last time with the sales side? Did it hurt, you know, vendors? Did it hurt prices, property?
No, it knocked out the silly business. When it happened with sales last time, it brought more honesty to the market. So rather than agents going 20% less and then selling it where it should have been sold anyway, agents were going in 10%, 5 or 10% less, and it was selling where it. So it just wasn't as dramatic, and it didn't attract the wrong people to the property. But I think this is much gentler. I don't think with. If you've just tuned in, what we're talking about is in New South Wales, there's laws now against putting offers over on rental properties. It can't be done anymore, and the reason why, you know, too many hearts were broken with tenancy. But I think this is it's a bit of it's a message. It's certainly a message to the market of what's happening. Do you reckon Luke's got a question?
Oh, thanks, Gouging. I think they're always pushing the boundaries. I feel violated, Mark. Change the legislation for all of us. No interest rate rises.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to be changing any laws for us property owners.
I don't think so. But the market, I guess, all in all today, guys, the market's in high demand. The rental market, landlords are coming back and passing on costs that they've borne. With everything's gone up for a landlord. The council, water, strata, interest, land tax. So their landlords are packaging it up and passing it off to tenants. Something on that is that before this rental market started going a bit crazy, you've got to look at what rents have done in Sydney in particular. 20% over 10 years is probably the number of how much rent. So if you had a property that was rented for $500 a week, that moved to $600 a week in the last 10 years. And when you consider how small that increase is, and when you consider property values did more than double, there is a big disparity in how low rents were in Sydney. Even COVID helped keep it down a little bit for that period. So
Yeah,
it's people did take a chip through COVID. Landlords haven't had their rent go up in a very long time, or only 20% over a very long time. So it's
true.
probably a bit overdue. Now, you probably don't like to hear this, but I reckon the rents are going to surge about probably 30 to 40% over the next couple of years. If there's one sector that hasn't moved in the commercial, industrial, retail, residential, if there's one sector that hasn't moved the most in Australia in property, it's the residential rental market. It's been the lowest performer of all the sectors. So it's probably overdue as well.
Which is really interesting. Here's my advice for tenants, though, because I know this all sounds like doom and gloom. If you are finding a rental increase coming through the mail and it seems to be way over market, I guess you can only justify a rental increase to put yourself in line with market, value, right? As
Yep.
as a landlord. So if you're seeing this come in at, you're paying for your bread and butter 2-bedroom in DY, which is 550, 600 a week, and it comes in at 800 a week, I'd be going back to them and asking them, how they justified that increase. And honestly, I'd be looking at just, I know it's a lot of effort, but probably moving on if it gets such, a drawn out process, so much energy. Because at the end of the day, that's what a rent increase is there for, is to kind of bring property back into line with market value. As you said, there's been a long period where it hasn't been, hasn't moved at all. But if it is seen like it's just a massive hike, then I'd be asking for some evidence behind it.
And I think if you're a tenant, to help tenants out, ask for a long lease. That's the only thing that can protect you from the rent going
True.
up. So, getting a 2-year lease, I think is going to be a big advantage. It gives the landlord security. And also, it's great for the tenant to know that the rent's not going to go up. So tenants are going to start chasing longer leases. I've got a feeling landlords are going to start chasing shorter leases. This reform that's come in I do have to say they brought this reform in to make it a bit fair for tenants. But I just think, and rightly what Luke said, landlords are just going to come up, and Lisa said the same thing. Landlords are going to come up and just actually start pitching the rents just higher. It's not going to stop them from potentially, having a bit of a gouge. They're just going to go a bit harder with their rents. But I think for fair trading and the government, it was fair to mirror the residential sale market rules into residential rentals, which is sort of what they've done by not being, because you can't say offers over on a sales property, but you could say it for a rentals property. So it's sort of, I guess it's hand in hand, matchy.
That's it. It's all about fairness, right?
Yep.
Same rule, everyone.
Luke's busy this morning. Luke's busy on the keyboard.
Markets in demand and supply, not what other agents think and feel. It's going to be fair for tenants until there is no more stock. Yeah, it'll be interesting. So the return of the investor, we were having a chat about rental yields yesterday, how it used to be, if you were lucky, around 5%. Now it's normally 2 to 3% in Sydney. It hasn't stopped people buying property though, which is interesting. People are still looking for the long-term capital growth, but rental yields are definitely something that's, not where it was.
Yeah, look, and I'm surprised that if you're an investor getting in, there's such a disparity with where your interest rate repayments are and what your rent is coming in. You're having to put your hand in your pocket for quite a lot of money now. So if it gets to the environment where rents start surging more and interest rates start coming down, it starts looking pretty damn good again for a property.
True. It's exciting. It's actually a really good time to be, I think, looking at your current rental, chatting with a broker and seeing what you're paying in rent and whether you can actually mirror that into a mortgage. It's a really good time to be looking. That's a conversation I'd definitely be having in preparation for the new year.
Interesting.
I think that's the topic.
That's a topic. Guys, have a great day. Government, well done looking after our tenants there, and mirroring the sales market offers over thing. And I think tenants go along with your leases, landlords go short with your leases, and yeah, hopefully it's good to see these rents going up, because as I said, 20% over 10 years is how much those rents went up. It's pretty bad. No good.
No good.
No good.
Change is on its way.
See you, Billy
Lars.
Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.